How did you discover the world of trading?
I had like $300 in a Robinhood.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just play around with it, you know? Pure lottery, pure luck.
Yeah.
I turned like 300 into like $2,000. COVID market, March 2020. You could buy any PR that was related to COVID. We're gonna cure COVID. We're gonna do testing for COVID. And you get an insta 50%, 100% moves. People feel like once they buy everything that they just get to start making money. Like if you get the best broker and the best software and you watch all the videos, you're just given money. But that's the easy part.
What has been the hardest moment for you?
Every day I do wake up with a little bit of an unknown. I was just sitting there all day in the same ticker from 9 to 4 with the same position, and it might have moved a penny all day. And it happened day after day after day until finally you're just like, I'm done with this. Like I'm tired of trying to do it this way. It doesn't work anymore. Kind of more of a realization of like, if it's not like this all the time, what are we gonna do? Like, how are you gonna stay in this game?
Wow, this number really blows my mind. Over 75% of you who watch the show regularly are not subscribed. If you enjoy the show and want to support us, the easiest and also free way is just to hit that subscribe button. This will help us find new and better guests, and I promise you to continue to work at making this show better and bringing you more value. Welcome back, everybody, to Be the Trader. Today is going to be a fantastic day. I have my man Strati here, who's been trading for right around 5 years. And today you're going to learn all about his stories. Strati, welcome to the show, brother.
How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for asking, man. So kind of take us back to the beginning. How did you discover the world of trading?
So I was always interested in like trading and investing.
Yeah.
And at the time I was actually a gym teacher. So I was like, I need to find something else to do because they only work 180 days. So I was like, there's plenty of time to learn other things and you're out by 2 o'clock. So figure something else out while you have all that time. So I had like $300 in a Robinhood. And I was like, let's just play around with it, you know? So then I Googled cheap stocks to buy in like 2019 and I found 5 of them. And one was called, I think it was Delcath Systems, like DCTH, something like that. I don't remember exactly. And I just threw $300 at it, random, like just out of throwing a dart. And in 3 days, it went up 600%. Pure lottery, pure luck. I turned like 300 into like $2,000. And that's when, I mean, like anybody would probably just get obsessed with the game and like be like, what is going on here? So that's kind of how it all started.
What year was this?
2019.
2019? Okay. Did you immediately just give that all back? Like, what happens next? Like,
of course you give it all back.
Right.
Then I thought I was smart. I had no idea what I was doing. I've never watched a YouTube video, nothing. I just learned how to put a limit order in Robinhood.
Okay.
And then I said, let's do this again. So I Googled the same list and I found another one called OPEXA. This is OPXA. The spread was 15 by 45 cents. The bid was 0.15, 0.45. And I said, if I fill at 15, I could sell it at 45. I'll make 300%. We were good, 200%. And I filled at like 30 and I sold it at 15. I lost 1,000 just like that. Yep. And I was like, all right. Now we really have to figure out what's going on because I would have been gone within the week. So it's kind of tough.
What did you end up doing? Like, because after that happens, like, did you end up immediately finding some book or what did you end up doing?
You start researching more. YouTube comes along. I tried a couple different services. I found Jack and then I found the Tim Sykes challenge. So that he really helped out a lot. And like, it kind of matched what I was saying because he was always preaching like these things are scams. You can just lose so fast. And it's like not really believable. But then I felt it from what I did, from how fast I made it and how fast I lost. So that's kind of where it kick-started, I'd say. And
when you found and discovered Tim Sykes and started to learn from that direction, did it, happen overnight that you, made money pretty quickly or how long did it take you to kind of get your ground?
So it was kind of lucky timing because I found him in 2020, which was arguably like the hottest time in history for small caps. It's COVID market, March 2020. So I wasn't making a lot of money, but immediately like you could buy any PR that was related to COVID. We're going to cure COVID. We're going to do testing for COVID. And you get an insta 50%, 100% move. So I was making money, like nothing crazy, like 15, 20,000 that first year, but I wasn't putting in that much. So I was kind of opposite. Like I wasn't losing at first because it was just that easy for at the time to hit on things.
Yeah.
And then I started losing in 2022 when things slowed down. Like a lot of people stopped trading well and it got a lot harder. So in the beginning, it was kind of easy with the COVID market. So my learning really didn't start till like 3 years later, which is
Oh,
kind
wow.
of tricky.
That's interesting. How'd you deal with that? Like,
It sucked.
yeah.
Because at first you think it's so easy. Like Jack used to say, this is the hottest market ever, like take advantage of it. But I didn't know any better. I just thought that's how things are because like I even had that first trade in 2019 where I hit 600% or whatever. And I'm like, this is how it just goes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more of a realization of like, if it's not like this all the time, what are we going to do? Like, how are you going to stay in this game? So then the learning curve started to pick up after that.
I want to take a couple of seconds to say thank you to our sponsor, Cobra Trading. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. And Forbes Advisor did an exhaustive research on day trading brokers. And Cobra Trading was the only broker awarded in 2 categories, one of them being customer service. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best locate prices and availability. Look, I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I choose to use them every single day, and I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by using the link below, and Cobra Trading will give you 100 days of free commission, 3 months of free software, and 33% off commission for life. Now let's get back to the show. So in 2022, are you saying that year, like in a singular month, or how long, like what happened? Like how did you kind of know that this is going to change?
People still made money in 2022.
Yeah.
Like if you're a good trader, I'm sure you did fine, but the majority, like they weeded themselves out and they started to lose. And there wasn't that many patterns every day. So you had a lot more time to learn and listen. Like the Discord's quieted down. People aren't posting P&Ls anymore. It's now like a quiet space. And when you're sitting there all day too, you don't have to be in a trade. Like when you're in a trade, you're not learning or studying. You're focused on the tape and the ticker. Now when there's no trades to take, you get to actually look at videos and study and do your research. You're not like so hyper focused. So it just gave me more time to think.
Some traders have issues of like over trading, right? They say if there's nothing there, they're trading. So it sounds like you took that time to study more instead of over trade.
Yeah. There's no more COVID PRs. There's no more themes. I think oil was a theme in March of 2022. That was fun. But the other 10, 11 months, like what was going on? Like I traded first green days with PRs. I traded OTCs.
Yeah.
Those died.
Yep.
There's nothing to do for me, but other traders had other things, but I personally didn't. So
was that triggered by like an event for you, or was it more just over time? Like, man, I am not trading right now. There's nothing to see.
They just stopped moving. So like the first green day OTC pattern, I'd buy it like I always did, but then they just wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there all day in the same ticker from 9 to 4 with the same position, and it might have moved a penny all day. And it happened day after day after day until finally you're just like, I'm done with this. Like I'm tired of trying to do it this way. It doesn't work anymore.
And were you still at the gym or working as the gym coach at the time, at this time? Okay.
No. So I gave that up in 2020.
Okay.
I'd gone laid off actually. And then things were so hot. During COVID.
Yep.
So I was like, things are so hot. This is my new life now. Like, trade these hot markets. I'm a penny stock trader.
Right.
So then in 2022, not only did the market slow down, I also didn't have that job. So you really had some pressure to figure this thing out, you know?
So how did you approach it? Like, did you immediately gravitate to a certain strategy? Like, how did you make that change? How long did it take you to make that change?
It's not like one day. It's over time. Like I'm more of like a discretionary trader. So I do a lot of feel. So I didn't track data. I just saw how other people were doing things and how I felt in trades. And I just assumed like that's probably how other people feel in trades. So like, for example, if I'm in a long and at 9:45 a.m. and every time it goes to break high a day and it breaks by a penny and comes back down, you feel a little dead inside. But your risk is still intact. You're still safe, but you're like, oh, shit. Then 10 minutes later, it does it again. I don't know. And then it just dumps. And then you felt it, but you couldn't take advantage of it because you didn't really know. So more eventually you start to figure out you can be a couple steps ahead. So then I said, how do we apply this to actually making money? So then I learned all the short patterns. Now I'm not like the biggest squeezer, and there's people that make way more money than me, but what I did was I'd find a first red day or a doji day. What can you do? You can just put yourself in their shoes. Every time I went to crack low a day, only by a penny. How did it feel? It bounced back up. Crack low a day, only by a penny. Now there's a big bid. One swipe up, they're done. But I felt that on my side, so I kind of learned how to feel it on their side too. And then there's plenty of shorts that have killed me on my longs because it was crowded and it wasn't going anywhere and it dumped. So it works both ways, but that's how I kind of started to get an edge a little bit.
That's very interesting, man, because most people don't talk about that side of the game. They mostly express data and so forth, but you're more experience driven. It seems like all the, seeing the market, being in the trades, feeling that emotion, you just remember being in those moments and understand the majority of people are feeling the exact same thing. So I'm going to play the opposite of that move, or the drastic move,
right?
If you will.
I feel like market makers, like, I don't know them, like other people know more. Like I'm sure Nate could give me a whole lesson on market makers.
Yeah.
But I feel like their goal is to just screw a certain group of people, like retail traders, like 90% lose. So do you want to be the retail trader or do you want to be on the house? So you got to find who's getting screwed.
Yep.
And don't be on their side, So find the fish in the pond or whatever the stupid quote. But
did you ever, like, being more of a feel trader, right? Someone who kind of like fills out do you focus on any specific, either whether it's level 2 or anything like that, or is it price strictly look at the chart? Like what do you do?
Whatever it takes. There's so many little clues. Like you can look at level 2 as well. Like if there's a big bid and it doesn't go up, that big bid doesn't mean anything. Like or if there's a small bid and they're soaking, like that's a trap. Like it's probably going to work and go up. So there's not one way to do it. There's so many ways to feel things. Like how many of you have been in a trade, you've been waiting all day for it to go up, the bids stack, and then it goes up by a penny and swipes down. That sucks, and it happens to everyone. So how many of those do you need to feel it and go through it and then learn how to take advantage of it,
Yeah. And I'm curious, how does someone who just based off of feeling and trading that way and understand the psychology of all the other traders who are in the market in that ticker, how do you manage risk that way? I'm just curious.
It's hard. I'm still learning. I've had some big red days before. So you have to be more proactive. So I stay I don't size everything at once. The more I feel right, the more I add to the position. So it's not completely discretionary. Like I'll make a plan before I take the trade. I'll be like, I think this ticker can do this today, and this is my line in the sand. If it goes under here, this idea is dead. And when it's working out, I add as it's going up and I size down as it's going down. So I'm never all in when it's not working. So that's my best chance of managing it. But there's been times when I've oversized up and then it just swipes down. I think it's hard to completely avoid it. But for this style, you have to be proactive. So you have to be at the computer. I can't trade from my phone. I don't do good trading on vacation. I have to be at my desk.
Okay. So you prefer multiple screens or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't trade multiple tickers either. I just get overwhelmed. I just have multiple screens to keep an eye. But on the main screen, I just have one ticker. If I can hit 1 or 2 tickers a day, that's perfect.
How do you trade? Are you scalping moves? How would you execute?
It's like a happy medium, I'd say. So I do big picture everything. So I use that framework, like the Tim framework is the 1 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then I find an entry, and then I'll scalp some and I'll hold some. So a trade around a core, because that way you take a lot of risk off the table. So say I'm risking $2,000 on the trade, right?
Right.
And I'm up $6,000 on the trade. I'll just lock in $2,000 worth just to make it a break-even trade. So now it's a win-win. It's either going to break even on me or it's going to 2x.
Yep.
So scalping pieces and holding pieces long term. It's the happy medium.
Has it always been that way?
No. I used to hyper scalp. I've tried everything. We went through the trial and error period. I've tried to swing things for 3 days.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep for 3 days, I've tried everything, and there's probably still stuff I haven't tried yet. It's always evolving. So
what has been the hardest moment for you? because you did make a point to say, like, in 2019, your story and how you got the first trade, and then after then 2020 it kind of got better, and then you really faced challenges until 2022. So I'm curious on, like, during that time period, like, what has been the hardest thing for you?
It's probably believing in what I'm actually saying because I'm not a data guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
every day I do wake up with a little bit of an unknown, which has always been hard because it's kind of like a feel thing. So you can't track that. I have trouble making Excel sheets, or there's the algo or data traders like the Shunks, Verma, Tim Grittani, where they have it on paper. They have years of data
Right.
and they're just automatic with it. But me, like, it's a big problem that, like, I don't really know what I'm waking up to every day.
Yeah.
This is kind of the struggle I think I deal with the most, if that makes sense.
It does. It does make perfect sense. And are you currently working through like, are you on a plan to solve that issue that you're dealing with? I'm just curious.
I don't think I'll ever be like a data guy, but I think you can get to a point where you're like a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think Nate and Jack are like two of my goats because they have the data. Like, I know Jack has the sheets, I know Nate has tracked everything, but then they also go into a flow state of just trading well. So at this point, I think I've gotten very good at the emotional and the psychology. Now in the next 2-3 years, I do need to add some data, track trades and the opening price and the volume is this,
Yeah.
it does
Your
that.
face looks like, that's
I know it has to be done eventually, especially as you get bigger. Like, you can't put hundreds of thousands of dollars into a feel. You do need something, but for now, as I scale, like, good for now. We'll see.
Do you ever look back and kind of like maybe laugh at some things that you maybe, or were you ever hard-headed on anything? Maybe look back and be like, man, I was hard-headed on that. I can't believe I used to do that.
Everything, dude. That
Yeah.
happens every day.
Yeah.
I'm hard-headed about what I did 2 days ago.
Okay.
It's always evolving. So I hate the trader I was 2 years ago, and I'll probably hate me in 2 years as well. It never ends.
I'm very curious on what would you say has been the biggest, like, lesson for you to, like, really accept, or do you accept, like, I feel really confident every day in terms of I can do this overall? I know you mentioned when you wake up earlier that you think of, I don't know what the day is going to be like, but do you at least wake up like confident, like, I can accomplish this?
Yeah. I think because I do a lot of comparing to the casino, and the casino's been around forever and it's not going anywhere. I think the stock market is also never going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to be confident in whatever they're doing to keep these things open. People will never change. So you have to learn the people the most. There's always going to be fear, greed, anxiety, ego. It never ends. So I'm very confident that you can take advantage of, like, humans, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like the psychology.
It's never going away.
Right.
I've been through it. I've felt it. So I know it's still going to be around and it's never going to stop. So I'm confident in long-term trading on the psychological level. And if I look at my kinfo, like, the equity curve is pretty freaking nice. So, like, I'm doing something right. So whenever I'm down bad or like overthinking, I'll take a look at my bigger picture.
Yep.
And then I'll chill out and just keep going.
Well, look, Strati, I'm very curious on what advice would you give yourself if you could start over to get to where you are now?
I like what I did. I still say, like, maybe you should have tracked what you were doing faster. Like, it took me 3 years to figure that out. So if I could have started over, I wish I just did more work. When things are hot, you still need to do the work. Like, at night, do your Excel sheets, do your tracking, do whatever you have to do. Like, when I started, I just made $500 and I logged off. I'd go to bowling with my friends. I'd go out and I'd be getting texts from Jack, like, where are you? Like, why aren't you home studying right now? Like, you're screwing this up because this is the hottest market ever. So, like, I wish the old me just worked a little harder. But, like, I don't regret any trading I did. Like, you have to just do trial and error. Like, I don't mind screwing things up, but the work outside the market is, like, very important.
Coming full circle, though, now that I know you've had to help some people or talk to other traders now who are newer, right?
Right.
What do you see the mistake that they are thinking or making, that, like, the most common?
like we do this little program with Sykes. It's called like the Inner Circle. So it's like a private room, or like he's dumbed it down to like 10 people, 15 people. We just chat, and a lot of them are new students, and people feel like once they buy everything that they just get to start making money. Like if you get the best broker and the best software and you watch all the videos, you're just given money. But that's the easy part. So like new traders need to understand, you could watch this interview right now. You could watch every trading video on YouTube. You can buy 100 scanners. You can buy the Webull scanner, the TOS. It's not going to change whether you're going to make money or not until you learn yourself and learn some patterns and then work on it. So people just get so excited. They're like, I just spent 10 grand on this scanner. I'm going to be rich in a month. And it's like, good luck. Have fun.
Just curious, because I wonder, before we wrap this up, I really want to know this now. Was it easy for you to risk money? Just curious.
To risk money? Yeah. Because I set myself up to trade safely. Like I got a backup job as a bartender.
Okay.
So every day at 4 o'clock, I got to just go to work. So no matter whether I was green or red, I had a backup income that I would rely on. I lived at home until I was able to move out. Like I took a lot of the heat off myself. So you're not trading P&L. So it's almost like whether I was green or red that day, it didn't matter. I was just learning. If anything, you could like grade it in like a report card. Like I had an A+ day.
Right.
And like instead of saying I made 5K today, because if you made 5K in a shitty way, if like you didn't trade well and you took a lot of risk and you got lucky, was it really a good day? So just take the money out of the equation and just make it like a video game and just have another little income to start.
I'm glad you said that, because some people might try to go all in without any type of thing, any revenue coming in.
You can't focus. It's all about the money.
And I like that you said that too. Like you make it like a video game. It's not about the money anymore. It's about, did I grade myself well? Did I trade well today? Could you just highlight real quick what you mean by that? Like as in you're focusing on execution, why that's so important for a new trader?
Because you could have a red day and you still did everything right. And you could have a green day and you did everything wrong. And the trick is, if you embrace those habits or those bad habits, eventually they bite you. So I've had plenty of green days where I oversized too much, or I traded a time of the day where I wasn't supposed to, and I made money.
Yeah.
But 2 days later, I blew it. So that's 3 days of waste on the same like bad habits. So the money doesn't really matter, because I think in the end it evens out. Like it's almost corny to say, but you have like your own VWAP.
Yeah.
As a human, like if you go like too high off of it doing the wrong shit, you're gonna slam back. So there was plenty of days where I got away with bad trading, but I got paid for it. And then eventually it just comes around. So I don't really care if someone made X amount. I want to know, how did you do it? Did you stick to your plan? Were you sized appropriately? Did the plan work? Did you sell too early? Did you sell too late? There's so many more details you can do versus I made money today. It doesn't matter.
All right, man. Look, Strati, I know people are going to be like, I want to learn more about this guy. I want to learn where he's at. So could you take a moment and let them know?
I'm always in the Tim Sykes Challenge, but if you want to find me on Twitter, I'm very active on Twitter. I've been trying to tweet a lot more, and X is what they call it.
Yeah, X, same thing. Yeah.
You can find me on there. I'm always active on there.
Perfect. Well, look, Strati, I appreciate you being here, my man. Thanks, brother. Thank you for finishing today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment below of one of the takeaways that you are going to implement into your own trading. And if you happen to be listening on a podcast platform, go ahead and leave us a review and let us know what you enjoy about today's episode, because that does go a long way in helping us continue to grow. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.